Welcome back to the Untouchaballs podcast. Caden and Leo here. Caden, it's a very special episode because it is Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, Caden.
Happy Thanksgiving, Max. Yeah, we're recording this nice Thanksgiving morning right before that morning game is about to kick off before the Lions and the Bears, which should probably be a pretty good football game.
Correct. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. Caden, what's one thing you're thankful for this year?
The thing I'm thankful for, is the ability to be able to do this podcast with you every week. We've been cranking out, actually being consistent for once.
Yes.
I'm very thankful for that, yeah.
You know what, Caden, I'm going to go off. I'm thankful for the opportunities that we've generated for ourselves this year. You know, all the support you guys have given us. And, of course, got to thank God for everything he's given us. But, yeah, Caden, let's hop right into it. We're not going to talk about these Thanksgiving games because, of course, they're going on as this episode is probably coming out, or who knows, Caden. But you have a slate of college games that you want us to cover. What's number one on our list?
Yep, our first college game is it's going to be 10 a.m. Mountain Time on Friday. So that is your Colorado Buffaloes are at home against Oklahoma State, where the Buffs are a 16.5-point favorite.
Yeah, Caden, 16.5 points is a lot of points. Even when we're talking about an Oklahoma State team who, frankly, underperformed this year.
Completely.
Fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
Disappeared from Big 12 talks very early on. This is a team we were very high on. Of course, they have Ollie Gordon, which scares me with the fact that CU's run defense has been atrocious. Yeah. But ultimately, I think, 2 touchdowns and a field goal covers, Caden, and I think that's around where CU could potentially win by this week based on how they performed at home last time against Utah, against a team they should have taken care of business, and I think they're going to be mad about the Kansas loss. I think this just all points to a CU blowout, in my opinion, Caden.
Yeah, I mean, Colorado really needs this win big this weekend. Obviously, they need some losses to help them get in the conference championship, but they, first and foremost, though, they have to win. And, yeah, like we said with Oklahoma State, started the year 3-0. And then they've lost every single conference game they've played this season.
Right.
So they've been way underperforming. Their quarterback play has been awful. Yes, they still have Ollie Gordon, but they've been a really bad football team this year. Yeah, like you said, it does scare me, though, that they have Ollie Gordon after we saw what Devin Neal did to them last weekend.
Right.
But this should, I think, be an easy win for CU. Just 16.5 is a lot of points.
It's a lot of points, Caden. I was thinking the same thing.
Day after Thanksgiving, 10 a.m. game. Give me Oklahoma State to cover this one. I think that might just be a little too big. Right. I do expect CU to get a nice.
I don't hate it, Caden, considering the line. Like, if it was 13.5,
that's a little different.
Way different.
I'll take that 2 touchdowns.
The 16.5 hook definitely changes.
Yes. Now, though, let's get to our Saturday games, though, where we have a big matchup between the South Carolina Gamecocks, who are traveling to Clemson, who still has an outside chance to make the conference championship, where Clemson is a 3-point favorite.
Yeah, Caden, this game's a little interesting. Of course, the Gamecocks have some very high highs this season and some very low lows. I think the fact that Clemson, still has that outside chance, they're still clawing, they're still scratching, I think they're going to come out ready to play, kid. And I think this will be a low-scoring affair, if I'm being honest. I think by college margins, right, a low-scoring affair is, 21-17,
exactly,
around there, in the 20s. But I do think Clemson covers this -3, and I do like them getting the victory.
Yeah, like you said, South Carolina's not playing for too much this week. But yeah, like they've been a hot team these last couple of weeks, winning a lot of big games. But yeah, Clemson still has this chance to make the conference championship. They still have that outside chance of making the playoff if they can do that.
Yes.
Which South Carolina, I mean, you've heard some people on TV talk about like how South Carolina should be ranked ahead of like Indiana, which I mean, I'm not against. Indiana's not a good football team by any means.
Okay, that's what I say.
I do agree that Clemson, who's still like really fighting for that chance to play in the ACC title game, get that guaranteed playoff spot. I'm right with the Clemson Tigers, right with Cade Klubnik, Dabo Sweeney, who's a little iffy of a coach, but yeah, I'm right with Clemson in that game.
All right, kid.
In our afternoon slate, though, we have the Iron Bowl, Auburn, Alabama, where Alabama somehow is still ranked number 7 in the country. Somehow they have 3. South Carolina should be ranked ahead of Bama in my eyes. Bama's got 3 losses, too, and one of them was to Oklahoma by 21.
But they score a touchdown.
Yeah, but Alabama is an 11.5-point favorite at home against Auburn in the Iron Bowl.
Caden, this is the Iron Bowl.
Yes, it is.
We know how crazy these matchups have been over time. With an Alabama team who's got 3 losses. When's the last time we've seen an Alabama team with 3 losses going into the Iron Bowl?
Dude, it's been a long time.
It's been a long time. I think Auburn senses, an animal that's wounded. They sense a wounded team, a team that's struggling. I think Auburn, is poised to attack. Whether or not they win, I don't know.
Yeah.
I like them to cover, though, Caden.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we just saw what they did against Texas A&M last weekend where they won in quadruple overtime at home. No, yeah, you travel to Alabama, but obviously Bama's a better team, but it's the Iron Bowl.
It is.
Where these games are always close. They're always very electric. And I think the 11.5 is just too high of a number for this matchup and how poor Alabama's been playing.
Yeah, because Alabama could win by a touchdown and a field goal, and they don't cover.
Yeah, they win by 10, and all of a sudden we're still good. Exactly. Also in the afternoon slate, we have Miami, who's fighting for that conference championship appearance and they're going to Syracuse. It's been a little pesky team this year.
Yeah.
Where Miami's a 10.5 point favorite.
Yeah, the Orange have, found a way to throw some jabs at people when they haven't liked it throughout the season, Caden. We talked about them very early on.
In that UNLV
game, of course. And I think this is a team that's going to be ready to roll. I think they're excited. I think they're ready to roll. And, with that cover, or with the spread, being 10.5, you said?
Yep.
I'm going to have to like them to cover this, Caden. I'm going to be honest.
You're going with Syracuse?
I'm going with Syracuse.
See, and this one's tough for me.
Sneaky cover, because I don't think they're going to win. They're not I think they have a sneaky cover.
I feel like I think in my eyes, they have a better chance of winning than Auburn does.
Okay.
But, I don't know. It should be, I think, a pretty good game. Because, we've seen Miami. They've been bad in the first half in most of the games this season. Then most of the time, they'll come alive in the second half. Cam Ward will come alive. Exactly. He'll remember how to play in the second half. Like that Duke game when they were down at half, then all of a sudden won by 20. But then we see that Georgia Tech game where they were close the whole time. Offense wasn't really moving the ball. Defense was letting Haynes King run around them. And Kyle McCord has been interesting this year. He's had those great games like the UNLV game. He had that good overtime win against, I think it was Boston College a couple of weeks ago. But then you have the Pitt game where you throw 5 picks, throw 3 pick sixes. And so it's really, I think, going to come down to which Kyle McCord are you going to get. If you can get the one against, in that UNLV game where he was dotting up, looking great, then they have a great chance to cover in this one.
Yes.
But also, they're not playing for too much.
They aren't.
While Miami's still playing for a chance to make the playoff, to win the ACC, get that first-round bye. So, I don't know.
You got to make a decision, Gabe. Yeah, it's a tough line.
This is a tough line. I wish either if it was a little higher or a little lower just to make it a lot easier. But I think at the 10.5, with that, I think I'm going to ride with the Orange with you on this one. Stick with Syracuse to be able to keep it within that 10-point spread.
I like it, kid.
Now, though, in the night game, we get my Texas Longhorns. We're traveling to College Station to face the Texas A&M Aggies, where the Longhorns are a 5-point favorite.
Yeah, Caden, 5 points is honestly kind of low in my opinion, just based on, Texas A&M's loss that we saw last weekend and the fact that, this Texas A&M team has shown really high highs. They've looked like a legitimate contender. They've dominated teams. And then it's just what are we doing? Two different teams, Caden, almost sometimes when it comes to the fact that just not being able to consistently get down the field, not being able to consistently stop people. And that's been the biggest issue with the Texas A&M defense, allowing points.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're saying, yeah. So, you have the big games where they have these nice wins. But then you have the games against South Carolina where you lose. I'm pretty sure I was at home.
Yeah.
Last week, obviously, you lose at Auburn in quadruple overtime after giving up over 40 points to Auburn, who's not that good of an offense. And, I know Quinn is a little banged up going into this game, but he's still a better quarterback.
Correct.
Than A&M. And, I'm putting more faith in Quintravion Wisner and Jaden Blue in the running attack. I just think this is obviously a big game for both teams, fight for that SEC championship game. I do think Texas will be able to come in here, win by about a touchdown, get that cover, and get that win.
I agree, kid.
In our NFL slate, though, we got some good games lined up. First off, we got a big NFC matchup here between the Arizona Cardinals and the Minnesota Vikings, where the Vikings are a 3.5-point favorite.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised this line's as close as it is, with the Vikings being 3.5. I just don't trust this Cardinals team. I don't trust Kyler Murray at this point in the season. They've had chances, Caden. Yep. This Cardinals team has been one that I would say is also underperformed as well.
I think they've overperformed.
You think they've overperformed?
So far, yeah.
I think
I think it kind of culminates
compared
with
to the national narratives.
I just think it kind of culminates with just how bad their division has been. That I think they've kind of overperformed.
I don't know. I'm gonna say I still feel like they've left a lot of wins on the table, Caden. That's why I'm gonna say maybe not. Maybe they've overperformed to their preseason expectations.
Yeah.
But I think based on the team I've watched and I've seen glimpses of when Marvin Harrison Jr. actually gets the ball and they're explosive on offense, that team's dangerous. But I don't know what team we're gonna get, and that's the problem with the Cardinals and Kyler Murray at this point in the season. We get towards that back half. they're so inconsistent.
Mhm.
And because of that reason solely, I don't trust them to cover. And I like the Vikings with the better coaching, and a team that's comfortable winning. And they got a hard division. They're in a very tough division, right, with the Vikings. And I think they have no other choice but to get a win with, the Lions and the Packers right on the tail.
Yeah.
The Lions ahead of them, sorry. But
yeah, exactly. I mean, this, I think, should be a good game, though.
Yeah.
I think this is a really tough line. I think with the hook, though, I'm going to ride with the Cardinals. I think they should be able to keep it within the field goal. I mean, you've seen the Vikings defense has slowed down a little bit from what we saw at the start of the year. They're starting to give up more points to these lesser offenses. And while the Cardinals aren't by any means a lesser offense, like you said, though, you don't know what you're going to get week to week with Kyler. Is he going to be able to just dot up down the field, run when he needs to, or is he going to look like he did last week against the Seahawks?
Yeah. I think picks.
Exactly. That was a really bad loss. So I think they're going to be able to kind of bounce back from that and keep it close with this Vikings team who, while they've shown they've been able to put up points, you also have the games like the Jacksonville game where you couldn't even find the end zone. So I think this should be a close game, but I like the Vikings to win, but only by a field goal. I think the Cardinals will be able to get this cover.
Whoa.
Let's get to my Patriots next now, though, where they're at home against the Colts, where the Colts are a 2.5-point favorite.
Yeah, Caden, at home with the Colts season, who they've underperformed, we could say that fully. The expectations they had coming in with an AR who was supposed to be back off his injury, and that whole ship has gone.
Yeah.
Still, within that wild card hunt, though, Caden, they still got a chance. I just don't think the Patriots are going to want the win, if I'm being honest, Caden.
I can see that.
I think the Patriots are looking at their draft seeding right now and understanding that you got teams like the Raiders who could potentially jump them and pick. And, I think
they have different needs, though, so it's a little Raiders are going to be going quarterback. We just need people who aren't going to be looking at like a left tackle or receiver to jump us.
Yeah, but that's where you get jumped is with receivers. Yeah. So I think that, in mind, I think that the Colts are going to come out with the victory. I don't think this is going to be a very good game, if I'm being honest. I think it's going to be an ugly one.
Low-scoring affair.
Low-scoring, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was like some sloppy touchdowns, like a long pick six or like a scoop and score. Yeah. Something weird that may actually bump that line up more than it looks.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to be like offensive touchdowns. So that's my prediction. I think there'll be a defensive or a special team touchdown in this game. But I'm going to have to go with the New England Patriots to lose in the Colts cover.
Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting spread. I mean, we've seen flashes of Anthony Richardson this season. He's still one of like the most inaccurate quarterbacks in the league.
Not bad.
And it really hurts them that Josh Downs is going to be out this week. They're basically their leading receiver this year behind like Michael Pittman.
Correct.
But we've seen in these past matchups, even with and it wasn't Anthony Richardson at quarterback, Jonathan Taylor loves to play the Patriots. He loves to run down their throats, run all over them.
Poor rushing defense, too.
Poor rushing defense. Well, it hasn't been a great season for Jonathan Taylor by any means. I expect him. He'll probably get at least 90 rushing yards.
Jesus.
I'm probably going to be taking 90-plus rushing yards for Jonathan Taylor in this matchup.
Wow,
okay. So probably pair with a tutty.
And if you're that confident on the running game, I think that tells us
I'm going to probably take the Colts in this one. Because if the Colts are going to win, I do think it'll be by at least a field goal. So I do I'm going to take them to cover this one.
I like it, kid.
In our afternoon slate, though, we got a really good matchup here, a little interconference matchup, where the Philadelphia Eagles are traveling to Baltimore to face the Ravens, where the Ravens are a 3-point favorite.
Battle of the Birds. Caden, this is the game I have circled on the calendar for this Sunday game.
Oh, for sure.
This is going to be a great football game. You get two teams with two of the best running backs in the NFL, Derrick Henry versus Saquon Barkley, Lamar Jackson versus Jalen Hurts. Two high-powered offenses when the Eagles want to be high-powered going against each other. And the fact that, this Ravens secondary has been the weakness all year long, I expect them to try to air it out. And I think A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith's out, though, right?
He's not out. He's not right. He's listed as questionable in the injury report right now. But he did not practice Wednesday. So yesterday as we were recording this. So it's a little up in the air if Devontae Smith is going to play.
If Devontae Smith plays, I like the Eagles' chances a lot more. But, Caden, I'm just not going to pick against Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson right now, especially with – man, this is hard because Saquon Barkley is playing electric.
Saquon Barkley has been insane.
The difference in this game to me is the Ravens have the second-best run defense in the NFL. Their run defense has been stout this entire year, and I think that's what's going to be the difference. So, knowing, it's strength versus strength, run D versus run O, I like the Ravens run D to get it done enough. Like, I'm not saying that they're going to shut down Saquon. I think Saquon's still going to have a good game. Yeah. I just don't see him, going
for
120 plus. Yeah, of course. He's not doing that. But ultimately, this is a tough game. I'm going to have to go with the Ravens.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go with the Ravens with you as well in this one. Yeah, I have more faith in this Ravens run D being able to slow down Saquon, not let him get his 115 a game average, maybe keep him below 100 actually for once this season. And then, on the other side, you have your Derrick Henry, who's going to be able to, I think, run pretty well against this Eagles defense.
Yes.
Lamar is going to be able to find Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews stuff down the field. While, I mean, Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean have been great this year. They're still rookies. They're still prone to those rookie mistakes.
Correct.
And I think Lamar is going to find a way to exploit them a little bit, be able to put up the points that are going to be needed. And as long as the defense is able to slow down Saquon, and you're going to have to put the hands in Jalen Hurts' hand where you've seen the ball in Jalen Hurts' hands where you've seen when you have to do that, he's prone to those interceptions. Just blowing up a little bit. I do like the Ravens, so I think at home especially, they're going to be able to get this winning cover.
Yeah, Caden. But, again, this game is going to be electric.
It should be a great game. On Sunday Night Football, though, we're looking at a big snow game. Is what the forecast is calling for. Already a bunch of snow down in Buffalo, where the Bills will be taking on the 49ers, and the Bills are a 7-point favorite.
Caden, with how bad the 49ers have played, with the weather implications, with a West Coast team traveling up north to go into the snow, I don't understand how this line's only -7. I think it should be more. I think the Buffalo Bills are going to have a field day with the Niners, and I think things can get ugly in a hurry with the snowy weather.
Yeah, I think this should be a 2-score win for the Bills. I think James Cook can probably have a good game.
Yeah.
Running down the field. Josh Allen will probably have 60 rushing yards, break some tackles, find another weird-looking touchdown down the way. And then, we haven't seen anything from this Niners offense really all season. Well, Brock Purdy being back will be helpful, but they're still not going to be able to, I don't think, do too much. The Bills, especially in the snow, and the Bills do have a good defense. And you're trusting in a West Coast team who has to travel all the way across the country to the East Coast in a big old snowstorm. A lot of songs that just doesn't bode well for the West Coast teams by any means. We're used to this nice 70 and sunny in December. So, give me the Bills. This should be a nice, easy win for them.
Yeah, real football weather, Caden. We're getting towards that time of year. Playoffs are itching closer. Games are getting more exciting.
Our last game of the week, though, is your Denver Broncos, who are at home on Monday Night Football against the Browns, where they were a 5.5-point favorite.
Woo! Caden, this is a nice little Monday Night Football game against the Brownies, back at home after that road extent in Vegas. I think the Broncos are rolling high. I think they're feeling good after a divisional dub.
Yep.
Not only that, they've swept the Raiders for the first time since I don't even know when. It feels good. I think there's a lot to be excited about in Broncos country. Snow-cap helmets coming out.
Ooh.
I think there was no reason why the Broncos shouldn't come in against a struggling Browns team. I know they just beat the Steelers, but that game was a division in the snow at home. I think that was a very outlier game. Yep. I think with the way our defense has been dominating people and enforcing our will, I don't see a reason why the Browns offense and Jameis Winston will even score enough to beat the Broncos.
Yeah, I have no faith in Jameis Winston. Nick Chubb has still not looked great since coming back from injury.
You're still limiting him.
Yeah, you're still limiting. He had his best game last week, and he only had 59 rushing yards. I mean, he got the 2 tutties, but one of them was a 1-yard goal line tutty or whatever. But Jameis will probably come out. He might throw a touchdown or 2. He'll also throw a pick or 2.
Correct.
And then, the way this Broncos offense has been playing, you've seen Bo really growing into form, being able to find his receivers downfield, whether it be Cortland, Vele, or I mean, even I think you need the running game to actually be able to run the ball this week. And while the Browns defense has been worse this year than we've seen in previous years, they're still a better defense than the average. And I think if you can have that better game out of whoever your lead back is going to be this game, whether it be Javonte, Estime, Jaleel,
who knows?
Either way, I do think while the Broncos offense is I think they're better than the Browns. They should be able to win this game by about a touchdown, I think.
Yeah.
Get that 5.5-point cover and be still riding in that wild card spot going into the bye week.
I agree, Caden. This is a huge win for the Broncos, as you mentioned before the bye. Broncos win. You're gonna feel feelings from Broncos country we haven't felt in years.
Yep.
That's all I'm gonna say. As always, it's super exciting. 3 games going on as we speak for Thanksgiving. The Black Friday game, which has occurred Friday morning right? It's like
I think it's Friday afternoon.
Friday afternoon. Either way, I'll be at the Buffs game, so certainly
Yeah.
don't mention that. Caden, is there anything else you'd like to say or add before we conclude?
Yeah, make sure you guys like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, share with everyone you know. Follow the social medias where we are posting a lot of graphics now with all our picks for these pods, a lot of bets for different like primetime games, Saturdays, Sundays. Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to you all. Hope you had a great day.
Most definitely. Happy Thanksgiving. Hope you spent time with your families. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you all next time.